Hello, everybody. Thanks for coming to my talk. My name is Matt Casey. I'm the Senior Product Manager at Jagex. My background is about 15 years in online marketing and digital and about 10 years in games. So the last 4 of which have been working on Runescape, which is our flagship MMORPG. So I'll tell you a little bit more about Jagex. So a bit of backstory. So Jagex was founded as a startup coming out of Cambridge University's computer science lab by the Gower brothers, Ian and Paul. Founded in 2001 and exploded in popularity in the mid-2000s. So their company grew up to hundreds of staff, millions of players, investors bought in, and there was a rush to build another hit game. This second age of the company, from 2011 to 2014, was quite turbulent, but fortunately, RuneScape had still been doing really well and undergoing modernization. So in 2013, we even split the game into 2. So we had an old-school retro version of the game for the real hardcore fans that really wanted that original RuneScape feeling. So this turnaround led in 2016 to the company being acquired by Fukong Interactive out of Shanghai, and becoming the Western-facing part of a new global gaming group. Okay, so hopefully that gives you a bit of a taste of the journey we've been on with RuneScape and where we're going next. So our mission at Jagex is to become the home of living games. So what this means is games that really connect and inspire people through play. So really a deeper sort of evolution of the online game. And this has allowed us to build a very successful and robust business. Today we're privileged to have one of the most popular free-to-play MMORPGs in the West. These numbers tell one side of the story of this popularity. £500 million in lifetime revenue, 250 million lifetime accounts, and over 6 years average player lifetime. But the other side of the story is the fondness and loyalty of the RuneScape fans and how deeply engaged they are with the game. To many of them, this game is their hobby, and to some, it's their lifestyle. So how do we go about maximising value from our players? So the first thing we did back in 2001 was to introduce a subscription service. So we allow players to purchase membership, which gives them access to extra quests, mini-games, map areas, and exclusive perks. Players who maintain their membership are protected from price increase, so they get a discount for loyalty, as well as savings for purchasing recurring membership for several months at a time. So you can see here on our store page, we highlight the discount players get for being loyal and the savings they receive for buying in bulk. And we always make a big feature of the purchase that we recommend. We also offer a seasonal tiered VIP membership package called Premier Club for players who want to bulk buy that membership either 3, 6, or 12 months at a time. Premier Club members have access to a wide range of benefits, including special outfits, game perks, a currency stipend, and store discounts. So looking at the top 5 apps on iOS, the subscription model is very much alive and kicking. We see it less in free-to-play games, but it can still work as an alternative or a hybrid. I think it's a really good way of rewarding loyal players with savings, so just make sure we highlight these really clearly. So consider subscription models an alternative to free-to-play or offer a hybrid. Highlight the recommended options and savings clearly. And lock in players by rewarding loyalty. So in 2012, we introduced microtransactions into the game in the form of cosmetics and consumables. This was partly to counteract the rising production costs we were finding as the game was expanding. So we introduced Solomon's Store, which is a cosmetics and virtual goods store. We sell outfits, animations, and services like bank space boosters, and all sorts of things from wacky weapons and crazy haircuts, so players can customize their avatar. So here you can see the store, which is accessed in-game or through our website. And we use a variety of techniques to market the goods from the store, including personalized recommendations, weekly deals, and limited edition items and bundles. So I've got a little case study here on limited edition items. This is something we introduced a couple of years ago. And we built these cool dragon pets in the game. So you can see there, the one on the left is the standard sort of edition Fire Drake. And then my favorite, the badass spiky shadow version, which we introduced for a limited period of time only. So we sold both of those items for 1 month and left the Fire Drake one on sale after that. So any ideas which one sold the most? Probably the badass poison one. So you can see there the initial spike in sales from the limited edition version. And then towards the end of that time period, sales picked up again as people rushed to get the last few in the shop. So total sales for the Fire Drake, 2,837, and for the Shadow Drake, 13,885. But total sales to date of the Fire Drake was 26,676. So in fact, that one over time made us more money. So it's about really having that long tail effect in the store. So we thought we were being incredibly clever with the limited edition stuff, but it turns out that the long tail is really, really important. So in addition to selling a variety of goods and experimenting with sales and limited edition items, we also found success by optimizing our store using heat map tracking and A/B testing, which improved the traffic to the store pages by about 10%. So I'd recommend use deals, discounts, and recommendations to drive sales. Experiment with limited edition, but service the long tail. And A/B test creative, test, iterate, test. So the next part of our monetization mix, we can skip this one, right? No, so we've been on a bit of a journey when it comes to loot boxes. And in fact, when we introduced them into the game, we were actually trying to do something more around retention. So we initially introduced something as a way to get players to log in every day. So we came up with this guy with our first version of kind of gacha or loot crates. He's called Yelps, and he was the kind of face of what we called the squeal of fortune. So players get 1 free spin of the wheel per day and 2 for members, and they could buy more for real money. And a spin on the wheel would give players a reward of varying rarity, ranging from currency and equipment to XP in the form of magic lamps. Players could spin 1 at a time or 10 at a time. This was a controversial choice, necessary from a business point of view, but players did not like Yelps. So this led to riots on World 66. So yeah, players didn't like him. So we listened to the players, and we decided to make Yelps into his own quest. And we actually gave players the chance to kill Yelps off.
What are you doing? I'll give you all the spare tickets! No! Ah, no more spins!
So there's actually a point in this quest where you have a choice. You can either spare the guy or you can execute him. So I probably don't need to tell you, nobody spared him. And that was the end of Yelps. But it's not the end of the story when it comes to loot boxes and our journey with these. So we rebranded the Squeal of Fortune into Treasure Hunter, which we introduced in 2014. Gave it a bit of a facelift and a new mascot in the form of Alice, who you see there. So evolving this mechanic, we removed the spinning wheel and replaced it with a choice of locked boxes, which you can open using a premium currency called Treasure Hunter keys. And although many players still thought this type of monetization made the game too easy, the increased level of obfuscation meant it was more popular than the previous incarnation. So with Treasure Hunter came the introduction of special promotions that offered exclusive rewards, premium cosmetics, and opportunities for us to market directly to spender cohorts using CRM. We also experimented with changing up the user interface. So for example here, as players unlock the chest, they build up a bar, which then unlocks the big bonus chest in the middle, which contains double prizes. So these type of promotions really engage our players and drive sales for us as well. So as Treasure Hunter became a sort of key revenue driver, and we ran these regular promotions with rewards every week, and we experimented with different styles of promotion, including some that weren't so popular. The community reacted negatively to some mechanics that encouraged the sense of risk versus reward, and they felt that it made Treasure Hunter too much like gambling. We also found that overuse of special offers like discounted currency could lead to a build-up of unspent currency on the players' accounts. And this could harm the revenue of sort of subsequent promotions. So the graph here, you can see the build-up of unused currency over time. So we're probably already aware of this, but Apple recently changed the regulations on their terms and conditions for in-app purchase regarding loot crates. And they're saying basically you should be transparent about the rates at which rewards drop. So this is something we're looking at very closely at the moment. So for loot boxes, we run regular events with exclusive rewards, and we experiment to maintain engagement. We need to be careful of currency stockpiling from these special offers, and be aware of the changing requirements for loot boxes, and be transparent with the odds. So, enough about loot boxes. But let's move on to the next part of our monetization strategy. And this goes right back to the very early days of RuneScape, where lots of our players would basically farm for gold. So this led to a proliferation of gold farming merchants on third-party websites, which we wanted to discourage. It led to many unpleasant activities, including scamming, which threatened the integrity of the game and its community. One of the many methods we tried was to disable player killing in the wilderness area of the game and replacing it with a mini-game. Not such a popular decision. Led to riots on World 66 again. So in 2013, we came up with a new system of tradable currency called Runescape Bombs. We introduced this into the game as a way of players to exchange currency with each other in a legitimate, legal way, and they can redeem a bond for either membership or for other currencies like the Treasure Hunter keys or rune coins. So bonds, they don't have a real-world value and they can't be extracted from the game. So we allow players to purchase membership with their in-game soft currency. This is really important. So a lot of RuneScape players will play for days on end to get enough gold to buy a bond, which they use to pay for their membership. We've enabled a market for trading and selling and created a thriving economy. And we provide ways for players to redeem for other hard currencies. So the next part of our mix is something we took inspiration from mobile games and other free-to-play games in the form of time-limited events. So this is the most recent thing we added into the game. And really, we wanted to find a way of monetizing our players, but also encouraging them to play the game rather than just sort of spending the money without really getting involved in the gameplay. So we introduced a system where players could grind currency by just playing the game, and they could also purchase it. So we used really engaging tasks that gets the player to log in and do stuff in the game. We have tiered rewards with a prestiging mechanic, and we make it really accessible. So we use teleports to take people to the event host NPC. And then last year, we started running these events in partnership with the charities that we work with. So Mine CPSL, the Prince's Trust, and the YMCA. So this partnership with Jagex enabled us to run events that were really popular with players. You can see the prizes there, the really cute little Yeti guys. And this raised over £200,000 for these charities over the last year. And then what happened with the KPIs? So a really interesting side effect from running these events was it reversed the downward trend we were seeing at the time in our daily active users. So you can see there the 14-day event turned that graph around. And then we followed it up with a 24-day Christmas event, which boosted our DAU to levels we hadn't seen before. So we integrate with core gameplay to drive our key performance indicators. We consider ROI for the cosmetic rewards. We're seeing about 10 times the average store revenue for the outfits and the rewards that are made for these events. And we combat fatigue with a variety of event duration and effort requirements. So to summarize, I would say, don't rule out the subscription model just yet. Sell cosmetics and consumables and optimize your store. Loot boxes, highly controversial, but still profitable. And if necessary, legitimize real-world trading with tradable currency. And time-limited events can drive player activity as well as revenue. And then just coming back to the topic of maximizing player value. So we see that multiple monetization streams contribute to player investment. We work with the community to make the content as enjoyable as possible. We allow players who are cash poor but time rich to still have access to the rewards. We nurture the developer and player relationship with live streams, forums, and social media. And we've built up steadily over time, so players feel valued, and this will add value to our game in return. And you can see there the effect of these monetization streams on our ARPU. So, what's next for RuneScape? So, really big, exciting news for us is this year we're going to be launching RuneScape onto mobile. So, this is something that we want to do for a long time. We've found it difficult with previous versions of the game, but now with a modern version of RuneScape and also the old school version, we can deliver this to mobile devices and tablets. So, we showed this off at our FanCon last year, RuneFest. For the first time, players got their hands on playing the game on mobile phones, and they went wild for it. You can see there were like, 20 people deep queues to get on there. So we see this as a really huge opportunity. It's about going where our players are going and the journey that they've been on since they started playing RuneScape all that time ago. So they might have started back at school playing it in the IT labs at lunchtime, and now they've developed and grown, and they've got jobs and families and all the things that take them away from the computer. So we want to bring that fully interoperable version of RuneScape to mobile. Thank you very much.
Hi there.
Hi.
So you were mentioning your 5 different monetization methods. I didn't know if you track the data so you can see which users, if they cross over in their purchasing, or if they sort of, the guys who use subscription don't use the other ones.
Yeah, it's a good question. We monitor player behavior really closely. We've got an extensive kind of in-house analytics and data science group that gives us loads and loads of feedback on all of these promotions. And what we do find is large portions of our player base tend to stick to one thing. So we have some users that will only spend on the cosmetics. We have other users that will spend heavily on Treasure Hunter, and then other players that just want to do the time-limited events. So, yeah, there is some crossover, but they tend to be quite... RuneScape players tend to follow patterns, so they're quite predictable.
So it looked like when you introduced tradable currencies, it didn't have any impact on your revenues. I was just curious, was that a big concern? And then how did you sort of make that happen? Yeah,
it's a good point. It's really something that we wanted to do to legitimize the kind of black market trading that was going on, because that kind of behavior was just creating lots of negativity in the community. So we really wanted to give players a way of doing it that was legitimate and legal, but it does also contribute to our revenues. So players are buying bonds with cash as well as with real currency. And over time, that economy's built up, so we're seeing more and more purchase as the value of those bonds increased. So didn't make such a huge impact when we first launched it, but over time it has done.
I was just wondering if you're able to explain a little bit more how this bond system works.
Yeah, so basically a bond is a unique token which players purchase for real currency. So they go to our store and they buy a bond. That bond then sits on their account as a uniquely identified token, and they can exchange that for either in-game soft currency like gold, so they can buy resources and things like that with it, or they can redeem it for membership, or they can redeem it for other hard currencies. So it's really a way of people being able to buy our hard currencies using soft currency in the game.
Yeah, earlier on when you were comparing permanent and time-limited items, the time-limited item, was that literally just available for that one period, or did you kind of bring it back later on for a limited time to kind of get more of that long tail?
Yeah, we do that. So we'll sort of decommission some items from the store regularly and then bring them back for sort of flash sales and that kind of stuff. So although we market it as limited edition, we do sort of make it clear to players that they will be able to get it again later on. And what we try and do as well, with anything like that we put into the game temporarily, we'll bring it back later as a free reward. So basically we manage the product life cycle of all of our items in the game. So they may start off on Treasure Hunter or on the cosmetics store, but then with time, we'll bring them into the game as earnable rewards.
So I got a question for you. How do you ponderate how happy your community is?
So the community aspect of RuneScape is really, really important. RuneScape players are such a loyal and committed community, and we really pay a lot of attention to how happy they are. So very recently, we introduced a system inside the game where players could just tell us how they were feeling, whether they were happy that day or not happy that day, and just using a kind of binary thumbs up, thumbs down thing like you'd see on Netflix or something like that. And we assumed when we did this, we'd see loads of people just downvoting us or just saying they weren't happy. But pretty much straight away, we saw that 90% of our players are telling us they're happy on a daily basis, which is really, really good, because sometimes we look on social media and we see some negativity from the community, but it kind of backs up this idea that it tends to be an echo chamber. But really, the majority of our players are very satisfied with the game, and this is what they're telling us every day.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Matt.
Thank you.